everyone, and welcome back to AustinPlus Reviews, where today we are finally reviewing the Mortal Kombat 2 official film that was released in May, at the start of May, because Earthrealm was in jeopardy once again, and it needed another member to fight off the awful tyrant known as Shao Kahn. Joining the roster was the A-lister Johnny Cage, a near nobody who receives a redemption arc of a lifetime in Mortal Kombat 2. And if you don't believe me, go and watch it. It's a very good film. And if you thought the first one was good, buckle your seatbelts. So, as usual, we'll go over the same criteria and see what Mortal Kombat 2 was actually like. So, let's get into it. So first off, best characters. Starting off, I know I said this in the intro, but I really loved Johnny Cage's character. I really did. The emotional heart of the film, he really was. And he really embodied, Carl Urban really embodied the, arsey version of Johnny Cage. I know he's played Billy the Butcher in The Boys, but Johnny Cage is a different kettle of fish, and he was a washed up narcissistic Hollywood actor who becomes a truly courageous leader. The path that led him to the trust of the warriors of Earthrealm is a tale of silly self-serving and high adventure, especially during his trek into the Netherrealm at the very end of the film. Now, I do think, as I said, the actor's performance was very well, well put together for the likes of Johnny Cage's. Their characters were really compatible, and his evolution of being the reluctant combatant to the true protector of Earth feels like he really earned the title of the protector, and it was quite a satisfying redemption arc. He didn't believe himself. He was this cocky person, but he realized he isn't actually good enough until the group actually motivates him, which I think is so classic, but it's so nice to see in a character like this. Now, a surprise cameo and sort of an okay character, and I think he is definitely notable, is Baraka. Now, one of the most surprising things in the sequel was actually introducing the Baraka and the Tarkatans, who is not the prototypical mindless henchman, but more like the fierce yet honorable tribal leader. His epic intro fight with Johnny Cage is a very big action highlight that immediately turns from the fight into a very improbable friendship. I think it's quite funny, and it's a breath of fresh air for the Tarkatan race, because in other interpretations of Mortal Kombat franchise, the Tarkatan race is quite frowned upon and stuff, but I think this friendship's quite nice and quite refreshing. But the visual effects of his physical presence are amazing. All I will say is that man needs a dentist. He really does. And I think the visual effects of actually getting them teeth in, or the proper look of a Tarkatan or Baraka, I think is amazing. And I do think he's the ideal link between the Earth realms and Outworld, and that the Tarkatan colony is the hidden underbelly of Outworld. So they've explored that aspect very well as well. Speaking of Outworld, the big bad of the entire film was obviously Shao Kahn. With the powerful blend of brute force and cold calculation, Shao Kahn is the masterclass of cinematic villainy. He was incredibly villainous, a tyrant, a figure whose presence should bring to mind fear and dread to everyone around him. Both heroes and villains are around, and he looms over the entire narrative of the film and is empowered by Shinnok's amulet. And I think that story really does set up the next film very well, and his explosive action bits and the way he walks around and the way he talks to people, you can tell he is a tyrant. And you don't have to say he's a tyrant. I mean, everyone knows just from the way he looks, but also the way he acts. I don't know his name, he's a very bulky guy, he's got some tattoos. The guy they've got to act as him, he's such a nice guy as well. I don't know how you can embody such a character like Shao Kahn in that, and I think it's brilliant. I think he brings a level to the tournaments that no one else would have imagined. He was bound to kill so many people with the slightest of ease, and he also culminated a monumentally rewarding payoff in the ultimate battle with Katana at the very end, which I'll get on into in just a little bit. But Shao Kahn's character, peak, absolute peak. Now, Noob Saibot was another character. Now, he's my favorite character in all of Mortal Kombat. I didn't like Bihan as Sub-Zero. Kuai Liang's better, but Noob Saibot is by far my favorite. Bihan's revival as the Noob Saibot adds a very personal, eerie layer to the movie's like ghost story at the very end of the film. I know he doesn't get a lot of screen time, but it is still cool. He wields the shadowed swords, or the claws and sight, something like that, and fights in a very ghostly manner with his other counterpart, making him, I think, a fearless watchdog for the Netherrealm. And that fight with Johnny Cage, Scorpion, and Kano, I think, was the most cinematic thing of the whole film. We knew he was going to be in the film from the trailers and all, but it was just so good. The action choreography of the film is taken to an extremely violent feud, especially in the fight between Noob Saibot and Scorpion, which I'll get onto in a little bit, which is, I think, the most brutal and personal thing, especially to a Mortal Kombat fan. To me, I love the strain of hero and villain with Scorpion and Noob Saibot. They've got such a checkered history with each other, and it makes for a grim and yet visceral spectacle for a film like this. And I think this is one of the franchise's best moves yet. I know they've got more to do, but I think this the way they've moved with the Mortal Kombat 2 is a humongous leap since the first one. And the way they're going, I think they could go on for a while, make their own cinematic universe, because they're doing the right thing. Now, this one's a bit of a short one. I did like Kano's character. I think he really brought back that chaotic, funny ride energy that we all were missing, I think, from this film. Kano is pure fun ride. And the thing is, I would say that Johnny Cage's character's the replacement for Kano. He's got some classic one-liners, that's for sure. Now, on to my favourite, the best moments of the show. The film. Oh my god, I've been doing so many reviews recently. My head's fried. Now, from the best moments, a lot of these are basically just fights. All of them are, except for one. But the first one is, as I said, I would mention earlier, is Kitana versus Shao Kahn. The final battle of the film gives a very satisfying emotional payoff to Kitana's character, because it was Kitana and Johnny Cage's film. It couldn't have been made clearer. She finally takes Shao Kahn on as a not as an adoptive father, but as the villain, and fights to regain the freedom of Adenia, which was taken over in the very first film. The dance is basically a fantastic display of signature Steel fans, and her final fatality is a very gruesome yet game accurate death, which I think is what I really liked about it. I do think Shao Kahn was really underplayed in this final fight, though, because the scene is... It's not as significant as because we've seen that the film's previous protagonist, Cole Young, was brutally murdered by the Emperor Shao Kahn with basically, I think, 60 seconds. And I think Cole Young died mainly because not many people like that they brought an original character into it. But Cole Young was murked by Shao Kahn. And the fact that Cole Young's abilities is basically taking other people's power and using it as a thing against them. How he lost that, I think, is weird. But that also shows how Shao Kahn is as a brute force. But Kitana killed him looked like ease. And I think that's where I kind of stand a bit iffy on that. But other than that, the final fatality, and which is very game accurate and all that, and the fight and this history, I think is all that I really wanted from a fight like this. Now, secondly, is the fight, as I briefly touched on it earlier, was the brief fight between Johnny Cage and Baraka. Because the battle is very climactic for the likes of Johnny Cage's character, and it's a fusion of martial arts, action, and very laugh-out-loud physical humor. And after running around and doing some typical Hollywood stunts, Johnny comes to realize that he has regained his confidence once again and delivers the memorable and crowd-pleasing nutcracker punch on the Tarkatan leader known as Baraka. Now that, I think, is so, it was not cinematic, but it was so on like point for like callbacks to the game, and I loved it. And I think that battle was really well done. And who I don't know who plays Baraka, whoever did, well done. Because as much as Baraka was like a good partner of a joke, he was still a good character. And I do think his performance was very expressive, and it created a unexpected mutual respect between the Tarkans and Earthrealm. And I think that's something we can maybe explore later on in the franchise, which was explored later on in the film at the very end, and obviously straight after that scene. But which I do think they should like get together at least another time in the franchise or in the next film. The next scene, which I thought was very good, was and I think this was so like it shows the heart-wrenching like battle. This was the heart-wrenching battle, and it was between Liu Kang and the Revenant version of Kung Lao. So for those who don't know, Quan Chi was in this film, and he brought Kung Lao back to life and was the champion for Outworld. And it was undoubtedly, and I just said this, it was the most heart-wrenching battle in the whole of the sequel. And it is a battle between brothers and who are both corrupted and just undead. I think this, like, the choreography is quite impressive with Kung Lao's hat and the razor-thin rim. The way they designed his character, I think, was quite good as well for a Revenant. He is a very deadly weapon when it comes to that like hat, and I think that supernatural aspect with Liu Kang, and then obviously the place that they were fighting, I think makes this scene very bitter, because it shows that it is a great battle, but it's also sad because Liu Kang is also forced to forced to kill him as well, and tears Kung Lao down to his own spinning hat, which he promises a way to find a way to save his soul, which I think is a bit weird. I don't know how they managed to do that, but yeah, I do think that fight was one of the best and the most like more accurate to the game, and as I said, heart-wrenching, emotional, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the last fight I want to talk about is the Scorpion v Noob Saibot. Now, this was a very dark generational feud that we all wanted from the very start of the first film. It took place in the hellish landscapes of the Netherrealm with breathtaking supernatural choreography from both Hanzo Hasashi and Bi-Han. Now, I do think that the fact that it took place in the Netherrealm is so accurate, considering Noob Saibot at this point is from the Netherrealm, and the Scorpion is the gatekeeper for the Netherrealm. And the black cloaked shadow clones, and then the ghostly powers of both Bi-Han and Scorpion, I think, played so well into this. The effects were amazing. The visceral, the whole fight is visceral, do not get me wrong, but it's a tribute to the franchise's darker history, and that the fact that these two characters have the biggest history ever, and it's brimming with some of the biggest hits and brutal swordplay of the two iconic ninjas in the whole of Mortal Kombat. I can take that to the grave. Now, in this film, there was a lot of callbacks to the game that made me like so happy. Like, the movies pays a lot of homage to the hardcore fans by blocking the fighting action in a couple of flat wide two shots side on that are basically very arcade, as they are classic 90s fighting screens. Now, the director did heavily rely on the source's material signature charm, as it felt like he was able to do the Johnny Cage's Dazed Dizzy thing before like a fatality in the game. And this movie is a living, breathing love letter to the video game franchise. There's no doubt about that. With its visual touches and impeccable retention of iconic skills, such as a fan opener, as like when they do the "Get Over Here" thing by Scorpion. It's just as iconic as that. And I think anyone that enjoys Mortal Kombat will enjoy this movie. It has many good callbacks. Now, are the chances of a third film? Mortal Kombat 3 is more than likely to happen. I do believe, as of recording now, it is said that they are doing a third one, as after the sequel's success, Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema officially signed on Jeremy Slater, I do believe, to start working on Mortal Kombat 3 before its release, and the chances are extremely high. Now, in terms of the future, Fans can also look toward a world after Cole Young with no characters from Earthrealm games. So I do believe Cole Young will not be coming back, and they just want to focus solely on the characters that are in Mortal Kombat. And it's just established characters from the games that come after them, and they will be in the situation where they have to capture Quan Chi to resurrect the fallen allies. Now, Slater has hinted that the next one will be based on the legends of different games and have incorporated the bulk of the Earthrealm versus Netherrealm conflict into it, which was very seen in this first one. So they'll probably bring Shinnok into this as well, either in the end of the third film or in the fourth film. I think the next film will probably be some other villain, or like basically every realm going at it. But yeah. Now, other reviews said, so The Guardian said, a junky game to movie sequel that offers more of the same. It's chintzy, its effects and hammy acting feeling like something they should have gone direct to the small screen. I feel like that's a bad thing to say, and I don't like it, so I'm just going to move on. IGN said the bar for the video game movie sequels isn't very high, but this one not only clears the bar, it twirls it around like a bow staff, delivering everything the first film teed up. Yes, I do agree. I do very much agree with that. It definitely set the bar even higher for the next one, and this was levels above the first one. So if we're comparing this film to the first film and then the game story, Mortal Kombat 2 is an upgrade over the 2021 reboot. There's no doubt about that, introducing more characters and getting rid of the original criticized character, which I do believe is like they did that mainly because of the audience, but I quite liked Cole Young's character. But in addition to the film, it's much faster paced than the first, which is, I think it's also packed with a lot of things that are original to the Mortal Kombat series, which is what everyone really wanted. They tried to do their own thing, which kind of worked, but they also wanted to see stuff from the original story, which is what it's all about in the end. But I do like this. I do like the second one much more than the first one. And I do like both of these films much more than the originals. That's for sure. But my overall review, I do think this is a fantastic film. I do not think it's over. I think I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. The kills in this were horrendous. Like, some of the kills that made me like ick, but they were cinematic, they were so on point, they were so game accurate, and I couldn't ask for anything else from Mortal Kombat 2. I can only wait what they have for Mortal Kombat 3. And there you have it, the Mortal Kombat 2 review. If the franchise carries on the way it is, we are in for a hell of a treat, gamers. But without further ado, folks, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment what you would like to see on the channel. But hope you have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye, y'all.
Yeah.